welcome to From Garden to Plate. My name is Alice Erickson, the creator of this channel. I have a big passion for cooking and organic gardening, so I will teach you tricks and tips how to take your bounty of a harvest from your garden and cooking everyday meals, and some of the things that I have learned along the way that have truly worked. So if you're interested in that, please like, subscribe, and click that bell icon. That way you can be notified of new content. In today's episode, I will be covering how to plant a garden ahead of time and making some tacos. What I will be utilizing is from last year's harvest. I'll be using roja, the sauce that I made, and taco seasoning that is completely inspired by San Diego. The best tacos ever. All right, it's time to plant the garden. How I go about that is I have a drawing of my garden that exists. That's a raised bed. And every year I try to grow what I think I will utilize for harvest. Because I made the mistake in the past trying to grow everything under the sun, and then at the end of the year I'm like, whoa, what do I do with all this? So that's why I plant. So I'd like to show you what I've come up with for this year of 2022. So what I have here, as you can see, is my drawing of my garden, of the raised beds. I have a drip irrigation system, so I can pinpoint exactly where I want things. So what I do is I number the boxes, and then below I write down what I want in those boxes. Then I'm like, I know how much I need to grow for my seeds. I like to do my seeds starting off in hydroponics, because I get a better yield and I get a much stronger plant than compared to doing the trays. So I only have 15 spots, so I gotta figure accordingly. So what I do is I come up with from the spots from before and how many pods I have, and I equal it out. And then I plan out what else I need for the garden. Hope that helps. Let's get to cooking. Let's make these tacos interesting by making a slaw that's delicious for them. What I like to do is I like to take mayonnaise, Greek yogurt to add a little tang, lime juice, because lime is delicious in Mexican. I'm going to utilize my roja sauce. I buy these kits that are pre-cut for the most part. I noticed it's a little too chunky for the proper topping of a taco. So I chop it down a little bit more fine. I like to add a little heat, so I got some nice jalapenos. And in order, because it's a slaw, why not add a little something more, a little green? I add cilantro. By the way, this is an amazing way to preserve your cilantro. They like it cool. So what I do is I put a little water in the bottom of a cup, get a rubber band, then I get one of these bags that cover it for vegetables. And it lasts way longer compared to just throwing it in the fridge. All right, let's get to making this slaw. I have chopped the slaw from the package. The jalapenos are finely chopped. The cilantro is ready to be added. I have the sauce ready to go. My best tip to you is to put everything in a separate bowl to make the sauce. That way it's more consistent when you add it to the slaw. So I will be doing that in just a moment. All right, it's time to make the sauce. So I start off with the Greek yogurt to give that tang. You don't need a lot, just a couple scoops. I'm using a small spoon. Mayonnaise is the base of sauce, so therefore I don't need a lot because I got a lot of Greek yogurt. So you got 2 scoops to make it even. I like to take the cap of the lime juice in order to put it into the sauce. I do about a half a capful, add it in. I'm taking my roja sauce that I made from last year. If I was going to measure it, I would say it's probably about a tablespoon. Whisk is your friend. You want to get it nice and consistent so when you add it into the actual slaw, it goes in more evenly and distributed. Okay, it's time to add the rest of the components of the slaw. Gonna add the cilantro. It's a good amount. I don't think I'll use all of that, but definitely going to use these jalapenos. Add that heat. By the way, these scoops are amazing. You should get one. So I have the sauce here. I'm going to use my whisk and just pour it right in. Nice and creamy. I take a larger spoon and mix it. I take the bowl and I just keep moving it around, make it easier on myself, and then you just keep flipping. Flip, dump, flip, dump, the slaw. And eventually you will get a very consistent, evenly distributed sauce through the slaw, so every bite is delicious. I have everything ready here for the tacos. So I'd like to go over the items so that way you can know what I'm using. Cassava flour is the tortillas that I decided to use because they're only 5 net carbs and very natural based. I got some store-bought pre-flavored with verde beans. I'm going to be using avocado oil as in order to make tortillas a little bit more crisp and the base in order to cook the turkey. And it flavors very well with Mexican. Plus it's one of the best, healthiest oils to use for your cooking. I am going to be reutilizing my roja into the beans, and this is my San Diego inspired Mexican seasoning. I will be putting that into the turkey. It's time to warm up the tortillas and get them a nice light crisp edge. And how I go about that is I take the avocado oil, pour it into a small bowl. I use a silicone brush, and what I do is I dip the brush into the oil, lightly coat the pan, which is preheated of course. Each side of the tortilla only takes 15 to 20 seconds, and then after that I lay them into the actual tray that I have ready as a holder for when you grab a taco and eat it. Just gently put them into the tray, press down just lightly, and when it cools down, the little bit of the edge of the tortilla will be nice and crisp. I am going to season the ground turkey. I'm only a half hour out from cooking it. The warmth, as it goes from the refrigerator in a half hour at room temperature, the seasoning itself will penetrate the meat a lot better. So I'm going to use, for the amount of a pound, just under 1 tablespoon. Seasonings will sit around for a while, and sometimes they can lose their potency. So what I like to do is use a mortar and pestle. What you do is you just takes just a bare moment, rub it in, it releases the natural oils that are in there, and your seasoning will taste much better compared to just throwing it in. I will break apart the meat with this. It's great while you're cooking too, because it breaks it up and it also helps the flavor to get put in real nicely. The beans need some love, so therefore I'm going to add my roja sauce and my seasoning. For the roja, I'm only going to do 1 teaspoon. Pour it in. Just like before, we put the seasoning amount, which is a half teaspoon, in the mortar and pestle. Warm it up a little bit. Toss it in. Give it a good stir. it's ready for the stove to warm on up. Hear that sizzle? Doesn't it just amaze you? I love it every time I hear it. So I started the ground turkey using this meat utensil. Just stab it down. Let it cook for a little bit, and then you do a turn motion and break it apart. The turkey is coming along nicely. I just continue by turning and twisting. I generally go about 10 to 15 minutes just to make sure I'm very thoroughly cooked and the meat is browned, because with turkey you cannot undercook it because it will make you sick. Time to assemble. Start off with putting a little bit of the turkey in on the bottom. Then that delicious slaw that I made earlier. But before that, we gotta sauce it up a little more. I'm gonna add my roja right over the meat. Use a spoon and scoop it right on top of the slaw. And there you go, a simple taco. You know I gotta try one of these. Let you all know how it tastes. Do you hear that crunch? That is the tortilla. The meat, perfectly seasoned, the roja, that smokiness, and then the slaw. Creamy yet a little bit of acid. Complement each other very well. Thank you very much for viewing the channel today. Hope to see you soon.